Hawaii, an island alive with rich culture and stunning landscapes. But this isn't just another tropical paradise. It's a home, deeply rooted in traditions, resilience, and respect for the land and its people. On this journey, we'll dive deeper, exploring responsibly, embracing authentic experiences, and listening to the voices of those who know this island best, the locals. Join us as we connect with those who call this place home, not just as travelers, but as guests invited into a community rich with history, pride, and aloha spirit. Welcome to the island of Oahu. Day 4 started just after sunrise. We left our Airbnb while the city was still waking up, hoping to beat the heat. Just a short drive from Waikiki is one of Oahu's most iconic landmarks, Diamond Head State Monument.
Day 4, we're heading to Diamond Head Trailhead. We're driving 15 minutes from Waikiki, which is nice, but you can also walk. It's a 30-minute walk from Waikiki. From the trailhead, about an hour and a half out and back from what I understand, and you need reservations to get into the park. Pro tip, take a screenshot of the QR code that you get when you do make that reservation, because they are gonna need to see it. We got there, didn't have any reception, couldn't get the QR code, so we had to swing back, way back in the line. So definitely get that going and have that on your phone ready to go. Yep, you got the QR code. And then we're gonna meet with Monica from Highway Inn, which is a restaurant in the community, and they've been around for over 75 years. So this is gonna be good. I'm looking forward to meeting with them and kind of getting to know more about them and their family. So we'll see you guys soon and keep you updated with this hike.
Pro tip.
Just kidding. We had to park outside the tunnel. So pro tip, make a reservation as early as you can when you know you're gonna go. We only had the option for entry only. There was an option for parking and entry, but again, there was no slots available. So we thought we could just buy entry and just pay for parking at the spot, but was not the case. So we had to go outside the tunnel, park outside, and we're walking to the front right now with our entry ticket. We almost got through, but
Third time's a charm.
Third time's the charm. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
Locals call it leahi, which roughly translates to brow of the tuna, because from a distance, the ridgeline looks like the fin of a tuna fish slicing through the sea. This massive tuft cone was formed over 300,000 years ago, when a single violent eruption sent lava exploding into the ocean, creating the crater we are hiking today. The name Diamond Head came much later, thanks to 19th century British sailors who thought they found diamonds glinting in the rocks, but turned out to be worthless calcite crystals. But the name stuck.
If you find yourself almost on the verge of 40, get those stretches in. What was the rule in Zombieland?
Always shoot.
Double tap.
Double tap.
Always limber, stretch. I'm not sure which rule it was, but it also applies to this case.
Yeah.
Anywho, Eric doesn't know. He's young. He has young legs.
Yeah,
He's a young buck.
Calves.
Calves for days.
Calves.
Get a close look at his calves. Eric, there you go. Get that right
Holding
there.
up.
Get the valley in between his calf.
Yeah, I got that.
All right, let's do this.
The hike isn't long, but it's steep, with switchbacks, tunnels, and 99 steps near the top that really make you earn the view. Now, we've hiked a lot of places, but there's something surreal about this one. Standing in a volcanic crater, overlooking a city built on lava and sand.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Made it to the top in 31 minutes, but probably really like
We didn't
probably like
stop, so we
25 because we stopped for some camera stuff. Yeah, in and out for sure.
Wait a minute. How do you feel?
Good.
How as far from a scale from 1 to 10, how arduous was that hike?
4?
Four.
4? 3?
I'd say,
3,
I
4?
would say like
It
for
was-
somebody who doesn't hike, that's probably like a 7.
Okay, yeah.
But like,
It's
I'm
just straight
novice.
incline. Yeah, it's incline. But it's not bad of an incline. I mean, in terms of like duration,
Yeah.
we're up here in 25 minutes and
Oh,
like
25
maybe
minutes nonstop. Yeah.
nonstop. Yeah, but it is straight incline. So if you're okay with that, I think it's gonna be fine. So it's not switchbacks or anything, which kind of takes the incline edge a little bit off.
Yeah.
But the last portion of it was just stairs.
Do you think it's worth once you get up there? there's that
Definitely.
bang?
What,
That's-
definitely worth coming up here?
Yeah.
Definitely,
There's a
definitely.
view.
I've
what's
never
that
done it. My
saying?
first time. So.
Was the juice worth the squeeze?
Juice worth? Yes, I definitely think so. I mean, you got the pretty much seeing everything around us over here.
Yeah.
Seeing Waikiki from a different viewpoint. Beautiful up here.
This spot also played a major role in Hawaii's military defense. In the early 1900s, the United States built bunkers and fire control stations right into the mountain, watching over Honolulu Harbor during both World Wars. Today, these old relics still sit here, quietly blending into the rock, reminders of a time when this view was used to defend the island. After the hike, we were ready to slow down and refuel. We were headed to one of Hawaii's most beloved restaurants, Highway Inn. Located in Kaka'ako, just outside of downtown Honolulu, Highway Inn is a legendary restaurant that spans generations. We came here not only for the Ono food, but to meet someone who knows the place better than anyone, Monica Toguchi Ryan, the third generation owner, keeping her family's legacy alive.
Monica, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. You guys are a staple in the community. It's amazing, I think, that you guys have been around over 75 years, which is crazy. Yeah. So that's, I mean, I'm looking forward to 100 years. That's going to be amazing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, here with the cane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
using it, as a disciplinary stick.
Yeah, definitely. But I'd love to get to know more about you, your family history, and kind of like how the Highway Inn got started, if you don't mind sharing that.
One thing that we're very proud of is our history. And there are not too many restaurants that have been around for as long as we have. I am the third generation owner. I went to the University of Oregon to work on, a graduate degree, and my father had a brain aneurysm, and that kind of forced my sister and I to come back and decide whether or not, I think at that point it was 60 years, whether or not we wanted to continue Highway Inn. And so, it's really important for me at least to know that I had a choice. A lot of times, people or families, we start a restaurant. My grandfather was born here in Hawaii, but a lot of times when you get the education, nobody continues on the restaurant business.
Some family members don't want to continue
Correct,
it.
because they're a doctor, they're a lawyer, or the restaurant business, everyone who's in it knows how hard it is. So my grandparents started it, and my father took over at about 30 years in the late 1970s, and then my sister and I came in when he had the stroke back in about 2003. My sister took over for about 5 years, and then I came back from Oregon and took over where she left off.
Oh, that's amazing. And now you guys have 3 locations, right? So
Yeah.
here, Waipahu, and now inside the Bishop Museum Cafe, right?
Correct. So right now we are here at Salt at our Kaka'ako, which is very close to Waikiki. But our original location is in Waipahu, which is about a 20-minute drive west of the airport. And so our Waipahu location is really our first restaurant. And then in 2013, we came out here to Kaka'ako, which is kind of the community that sits between downtown and Waikiki. Is called Kaka'ako. And this area is called Salt at our Kaka'ako because there were once salt ponds in this area. And so Kamehameha Schools, which is the largest educational trust in the world, is the landowner of this property. Yeah,
Beautiful location.
This was in development for about 30 years here in Hawaii, and the slogan here is eat, work, and play.
Yeah. Yeah. Over the generations, I'm curious to hear about this from you, is do you guys change with, like, there's so many trends on Instagram and so many things that are that look delicious but maybe aren't delicious? Do you guys do anything that kind of goes with the time, or do you guys stay more traditional?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I mean, I think we have this saying in Hawaii: "You eat what get."
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And Hawaiian hasn't really evolved, really, for good or for worse. Hasn't really evolved our menu, really. Kaka'ako definitely has some newer things like nachos.
Yeah.
We have far more people with dietary restrictions or dietary preferences.
Yeah.
Our Waipahu location, we serve a very large Native Hawaiian community. Nanakuli and Waianae is the largest Native Hawaiian community in the state. So a lot of our customers over there, like, they don't care about the specials.
Yeah.
They know what they want
Yeah.
before they even walk through the door. And it's normally their regular order. People know what they're going to get. I think it's really important, in terms of like understanding Hawaiian food and what we can offer. And hopefully for those guests that want to stray off the beaten path, they'll find a great experience here.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's great. So thank you for sharing that. Well, we got a lot of food in front of us now.
We
So
call this Polynesian paralysis,
Yes.
and we're all done.
when, I guess for like first timers or people not familiar with Hawaiian cuisine, what would you suggest them to try for their first?
This is probably so if you want to go old school, we have these really kitschy 5-compartment school lunch trays that you would be served our Hawaiian food. This is relatively brand new. A lot of times we have requests for a variety of the Hawaiian foods. So like in the kitschy 5-compartment, you have to choose between kalua pig or lau lau. In this plate, you get everything. So this is called our tasting plate, and you really get a chance to try a variety of Hawaiian food staples. So the main item is this lau lau in the front, and lau in Hawaiian means leaf. So it is pork, typically pork and butterfish that's wrapped in the leaf of the taro plant. Here in Hawaii, we call that kalo. We also say luau leaves, but this is called the lau lau. Then this is actually poi, and while it may seem like it is a side dish, it is actually the star of this plate. And for a lot of people, they probably have never tasted poi before. It is steamed taro that is basically kind of mashed and pureed. And then when it's ready to be eaten, water is added to kind of like create a bit of like a yogurt kind of consistency. But for Hawaiian people, this is the star. With Hawaiian food, there is mo'olelo or story behind the food. And it oftentimes can be related to a god. So from a cultural perspective, poi is very, very significant. The taro plant is very, very significant. The kalua pig, at one time, women could not eat kalua pig. We can now, but this is basically like shredded pork. I oftentimes like to kind of describe it like carnitas, for people that may be more familiar with that dish. The chicken long rice is, a lot of times when we talk about Hawaiian food, we talk about pre-contact, post-contact Western world, and a lot of different cultures that came to work in the plantation. There's a lot of kind of history and stories and immersion and fusion that happened along the way, and chicken long rice is probably one of them. It is one of them, most likely from the Chinese settlers who were the first ones to work on the plantation. So it's kind of, like a noodle dish with a chicken broth. A lot of the children love this dish, along with the kalua pig. This is squid luau, and again, I use the word luau. You could call the leaves luau as well, but basically it's the leaf of the taro plant, and it's cooked and simmered with coconut milk, and it's sweet. And it has like calamari in it. A lot of people may think that it's like a dessert, but it's actually part of the main dish. And then lomi salmon. This is really fascinating because we do not have salmon here in Hawaii. So it's like, how did we get this, on our table? And again, this comes to like a lot of whalers that would bring salted fish and salmon, like from the Pacific Northwest, and introduce salted salmon to Hawaii, and so now we have lomi salmon, even though we don't have any salmon, running in our rivers. Sweet potato, or uala, is the Hawaiian word for sweet potato. In Hawaii, we have this preference for the purple sweet potato, and perhaps a lot of people may have never seen this color. It's usually like yellow or orange. But we also call this the Okinawan sweet potato. Coconut niu is also brought over. That's one of the va'a, or the canoe plant foods. And if you like coconut, this is a wonderful. Now, the only thing that's a dessert on this plate is this one. And this is like kind of like a coconut custard, very creamy kind of a dish. And it's just really, really yummy if you're a coconut fan.
Yeah, it all smells amazing. I love that it's a sampler. Like you have a little bit of everything. Because myself, I'm one of those that would go to a place and would want to try everything. It's nice that you have it all in one plate. And the portion sizes are great.
It depends on how big your appetite is, but definitely, I wouldn't be able to call in Hawaii pound this, myself. I don't always have the opportunity to have conversation about these mo'olelos or these stories, but I think when people actively try to understand a culture, understanding culture is there. It's fun when you get to learn it through food.
I agree. I travel and I feel like I understand, like you said, culture through food. I mean, I will never turn anything down. Anything that's normal that might not seem usual to us, let me try it. And I feel like, okay, you understand kind of where it came from.
Yeah.
Because it's not...
And why.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that touches me more, and I'm never going to be against trying anything. I love that. And I love traveling and just eating food. Not so much, of course, just because I want to eat food, but
just to try and experience.
Yes.
And what kinds of flavors that particular area recognize. And this is another thing that I tell people is when you try Hawaiian food for the first time, you really need to kind of set aside your biases and not compare it to like Indian food where there's a lot of spices in India, or Italian food where there's a lot of herbs. To appreciate especially an indigenous or native cuisine, understanding why it is cooked and prepared in this way is really important to understanding the flavor profile.
Yeah. Would you mind sharing a little bit about these other two that we have here?
So the Loco Moco, it was created, there are many different stories. One of the story that I believe in is that it came out of Hilo and the Big Island, and it was meant to serve these, very hungry young men. And basically it's just rice with hamburger patty and 2 eggs, however way you want to prepare it, sunny side or over easy. For Highway Inn, again, 78 years old, we don't do burgers the way people do burgers now. Our burger is more like an old-fashioned style hamburger. So, we add the breads to it, so it kind of tastes more like a meatloaf. So when you eat it, you may be reminded of your grandmother, for example, who may have, made hamburger this way, or prepared. And really what it is people didn't have a lot of money. So the way that they cooked was they had to find opportunities to kind of add filler to it, and bread, old bread was one of those ways. And so again, appreciating what people have to work with and the economic situations for a lot of our parents
the story behind
and
that
grandparents.
So.
But it's a very kind of common local dish here in Hawaii.
I feel like that's
everyone Loco
knows
Moco,
Loco
right?
Moco is,
So we have Loco Moco. Like, who does the best Loco Moco?
And the pancake.
And then we have our pancakes, haupia sauce, which is kind of similar to the dessert there, and it's now in a pancake sauce. So if you love coconut, this is a great dish. Something very different. And then we sprinkled some macadamia nuts. We have a lot of macadamia nuts is one of our agricultural products here in Hawaii, and so our haupia pancakes.
It looks amazing.
But for a really great Hawaiian meal, I always like to tell these two are very complementary, and simply from a nutritional standpoint. Once you eat a lau lau, you don't have to eat any more greens for the day. I mean, like you fulfilled you fulfilled your vegetable, intake for the day. The nutritional value of luau leaves is very similar to spinach or collard greens. And then it has the protein inside with the pork. And then the poi is like many different cultures around the world have fermented foods, and now we all understand what fermented foods do to the microbiome. And so poi, again, the more fermented it is, the sour it will taste.
Perfect. And then I guess my last question for you is, I'm curious, outside of Highway Inn, of course, what is your favorite place to eat on Oahu?
Okay, so I have to drop Rainbow's Drive-In because that's also third generation owner, and they're trying to keep their food is still the same way, back from like I think it was the 60s when they came around, and they do a really amazing job.
Yeah, I remember being there the last time I was here as well.
Yeah.
Yes, the plate lunch.
Come to Highway Inn for your Hawaiian food,
Definitely.
and then go to Rainbow's Drive-In for your plate lunch.
Definitely. Well, Monica, thank you so much for your time again, and this looks amazing, and thank you for sharing and talking story with us, and
Thank you.
this was great. I appreciate it. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
We felt truly honored to sit down and talk with Monica. Having this conversation with her felt like opening a window into Hawaii's culinary soul. Her deep knowledge of traditional Hawaiian food passed down through generations gave us a richer appreciation for every dish we tasted. But more than that, hearing the story of her grandfather, his resilience, his vision, and the legacy he built through Highway Inn was truly something special. And now today, Monica and the Highway Inn team are carrying forward a history that continues to nourish the community today, all while carrying on something meaningful for generations to come. In our upcoming episodes, we are diving deeper into what makes Oahu unforgettable. So stay tuned, there's plenty more to discover here on Oahu. See ya!